What up, guys? Today we have a question from Indiana who's basically, sounds like he's having like a midlife crisis. And instead of getting the Miata or the sports car to drive, he wants to get into an MMA fight. And before I get into the message, many of you guys that follow me on YouTube, you may have noticed that I haven't posted anything or haven't posted as much or as consistently as I usually do. It's because, one, I've been traveling, but also, two, my wife and I brought home an infant recently, and that has been challenging to the schedule, figuring out how all that works together. And with that, I want to say props to all the parents. I know we always, basically push up the competitors and we talk about how disciplined they are for training so hard, all that stuff. I can tell you from a guy who trained all the time, was just training like an athlete, and then now working, holding everything down, doing all this stuff, doing the parent training, working thing, that requires so much more discipline. So I just want to give all you parents, because I know we have a lot of you out there, I want to give props to you guys. You probably don't get enough props for the amount of discipline it takes to hold down your family, work, train, all that other stuff. So with that said, let's jump into this question. So Indiana wants to get into an MMA fight. He says he has no aspirations of being no delusions of being a UFC champion or anything like that. He just wants to see what it's like to have one fight, one and done, just to see what that experience is like. He has a calling to do it. Now, he says he knows it doesn't really make sense to do it. He's 30 years old. He's been training jiu-jitsu for 3 years, and he just has this urge to do it. But he sends me the message, and he's asking one for my bearded opinion as to what I think about it. Like, is it a good idea? Is it not a good idea? Should he even, risk going through all this stuff if he has no aspirations of being a full-time fighter? And he also gives me a big list here, you can't see it, but a big list of justifications as to why he wants to do this thing, why he wants to fight. And so, Indiana, thank you for the question, bro. So in your message, again, you gave me all these justifications, and it's funny because I relate with those. Because I know what's going on right now. You're looking at the situation as, I'm a 30-year-old dude. I don't know what your family life's like, what you've got going on. You probably got a lot of stuff. You probably got a mortgage. You got your job. You're living a 30-year-old life. And now you're saying, I want to go fight. And you've probably maybe talked to some people, and they're like, you want to what? Why do you want to fight? That makes no sense. Right? Why would you give up all this comfort to go fight? And again, it makes no sense when you think about it, because most of us living in the United States, aside from very select areas, we don't experience like fighting on a daily basis. We don't see it, right? So why would you put yourself in that situation? But all the justifications you gave me, I had those when I was like 20, and I was telling my family that I wanted to fight, right? Because it makes no sense to them. They're looking at me. You're in school. You're good with computers. Go do something with computers. Don't do anything with this fighting stuff. What's wrong with you? You're going to get hurt. But again, just like you, I had a calling. I had an urge. I wanted to see what I was made of. I wanted to get out there. I wanted to fight. I wanted to experience that. And I did. I fought for a number of years. Now, you are only planning to do a one-and-done fight. But I would tell you that I would encourage you, if you were in my gym, I would be like, you need to go fight. You need to experience this thing. You need to go through with it, because you don't want to get to the end of the line with your life and say, you know what, man, I really wish I would have had that experience. Dang, missed that one. You should go see it through. Now, I'm going to give you a couple ideas to chew on that may comfort you, give you some ideas that also could help you sort of give you a track as to what you should do leading up to this fight, right? First off, to comfort you, because I know you're like, I'm 30 years old. What's wrong with me? Why do I want to fight all of a sudden? It's all right. You're not the only one. I've had several guys come into this gym who were training jiu-jitsu or training boxing, whatever. And then one day they got a wild hair up their butt and they said, you know what? I want to get into the MMA ring. I want to go do that. And they had one fight and they were done. Many of them were in their mid-30s. One of them was even close to 40. And they came out just fine because they were properly trained. They had trained properly. They had their MMA going on. They had jiu-jitsu. They had striking. They were doing the right stuff. And they went out there and did just fine. So that may be comforting to you. Now, to sort of give you a track as to whether or not you should fight or figure out if fighting is right for you, what I would encourage you is to, first off, you already do jiu-jitsu. You've been doing it for 3 years. Go ahead and grab some of your jiu-jitsu buddies, some of your rolling partners, your good guys that you like to roll around with. Put some MMA gloves on and grapple with punches. See if you like that. I've seen many people who thought they wanted to fight. They thought they wanted to get into MMA fight, and as soon as the punches start coming, oh, I don't like this. I wanted to be the guy with my hand raised. I didn't want to be the guy getting hit. You have to be a little different, right? We're like a little psycho to be like, get hit and kind of be okay with it. You may not like it, but, accept it for what it is. Like me, this is how I remember starting with my buddies back in the day. We used to beat the crap out of each other. We would do jiu-jitsu, do wrestling, and then we would put gloves on and we'd fight in my basement. I wish I still had those videos. We used to like beat each other up. And, I remember getting hit and kind of liking it. It didn't feel good, but there was still something like, let's go. So you gotta be a little bit of a psycho to like that stuff. But anyway, you'll be able to decide after doing those fighting jiu-jitsu sessions whether or not you actually want to do this. Now, if you decide, Indiana, that you do want to fight, here's what I would tell you to do. Start striking. You said you have not started striking yet. Start striking. You do not want to be the jiu-jitsu guy who goes into the MMA fight and learns in the middle of the MMA fight that he can't strike and that getting punched in the face sucks. So, because trust me, I've seen some good jiu-jitsu guys, black belts, brown belts, purple belts, lose amateur MMA fights against guys they should have beat because they just didn't know any striking. They just didn't feel like they needed to. Even if you do not use the striking and you take the guy down, it's better that you have it just in case. Because otherwise, it's like the old adage, right? If you get a jiu-jitsu guy into the ring and he doesn't know how to strike, you hit a black belt once, now they're a brown belt. Hit the brown belt, now they're a purple belt. You get the idea. We start knocking them down a belt level, and you will see very skilled grapplers start doing the dumbest stuff because they're panicking and they don't know what to do. So do some striking. Also, you want to make sure that you find a good coach who has a relationship with the local promotion. You do not want to just sign up to the local promotion and say, put me wherever you think I should be. I've seen some really bad mismatches. And to be honest with you, for the most part in amateur MMA, yes, people can get hurt. But if you're healthy and you're matched properly, you'll probably be just fine. I've seen even just terrible fighters in multiple states. I don't know what it's like everywhere, but I've seen in multiple states where you'll have these guys who are kind of like they're the tomato cans of the local promotion. They never win fights. They train in their buddy's basement. They come out, they get together, they go get in the ring, they get beat up by whomever, and they go home, and they just keep doing it, and they're still not hurt. They're still chugging along, right? So you don't want to, but going back to, sorry, I'm getting all over the place. Had a little coffee today. You don't want to get positioned with someone who's a very good fighter who you shouldn't be against, because I have seen some people have some long-lasting injuries that way. Where like one guy I know, he actually had to have surgery on his face because he had all these like breaks in his face, and they had to put plates to hold things together because the guy was a very good wrestler, took him down, and I mean, he started caving in his face in the corner of the ring. You don't want that to happen to you. So get a coach, get a manager who can put you in and basically advocate for you to have a good fight. And so that would be my suggestion to you, bro. It's okay. There's plenty of older guys that are getting into this that want to test themselves, that just want to have that one and done fight to see what they're made of, to test themselves. It's okay. Many men have that desire to want to test themselves. Just make sure that you go through the proper training leading up to it, get your striking into it, learn how your punches and elbows and all that, depending on what kind of promotion you're working for or going to fight for. See how those strikes in the ground work. Be very comfortable, become very comfortable with them, and then make sure you just train properly and get matched up accordingly. So anyway, Indiana, hopefully that helps you, brother. I'll talk to you guys next time.